Hi, Jed from Cook Culture. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to take a brand new carbon steel fry pan and be seasoning it in the oven. Okay, so you've got yourself a beautiful new carbon steel fry pan. So the Mineral B that I have here, and a lot of, or many of the brands that you'll buy of high quality carbon made in Europe, the ones that I've seen that are made the same way, they come coated with beeswax on them. So this pan here has beeswax on the body. It has epoxy on the handle, but beeswax on the body. So it comes from the factory that way. The reason for it is that it will stop oxidization, so rusting in shipping. It comes in a really nice brown bag, but that wouldn't stop it from having moisture in the probably couple of months it takes from going from factory to a retail floor, especially here on the western side of Canada. So they put beeswax on it and it works beautifully. No rusting, and it's very, very easy to take off. So we're gonna do that in a sec. And the way that we're gonna do that was basically just hot running water. But what I wanted to talk about first was just how we're gonna go from A to Z on seasoning this. So brand new pan, you just get it home. It's got the cardboard on it. You just take the cardboard off, of course. You've got your little hand tag. And in this hand tag right here, it's gonna have some seasoning instructions. The seasoning instructions are good, but I don't like them as much as the oven method. But the point that I want to make that's really important is that De Beyer, and I've spoken to them, the manufacturers, I've spoken to the CEO of De Beyer about this specifically. They promote doing the stovetop method for putting oil into the pan and heating it on the stovetop. The reason for it is this handle on this pan has epoxy on it, and you can blister the epoxy under hot temperature. So for them to mitigate the risk of that happening, they suggest doing the stovetop method, which can work just fine. I've done it dozens of times and it's totally fine. I find that when I'm cooking at the right temperature in the oven, it doesn't hurt the handle and it browns the pan just perfectly. So that's why we're doing the oven method today. I think it's a better quality initial seasoning. Once this pan is seasoned, I'm using it, I will then post-season it on the cooktop, but I will always do a Mineral B carbon steel pan in the oven for its initial seasonings. So we're gonna take it to the sink, we're gonna take off the beeswax coating, I'm gonna run it under hot water for a little bit. I'm not gonna get too obsessive. The wax residue that's left on here after I take the bulk off with hot running water, it actually helps adhere the oil on for its initial seasoning into the oven, which is absolutely fantastic. So it's a benefit. So I don't spend a huge amount of time trying to take every last bit of the beeswax off. I just hot running water, take a bunch off with a nylon scrubby, and then I'm good. And then I will apply to the warm pan, because I've had it under warm water. I will apply my seasoning paste or grapeseed oil if that's what you wanted to use at the time, but I will be using paste on both sides, not on the handle, but on both sides of this. And then we're gonna be putting it into a preheated oven at 475 degrees. And I'm gonna invert this pan on the rack. I have a baking sheet underneath, just in case anything drips of the wax or the paste. I don't ever have that issue, but I just like to put one there just for insurance. And then I'm gonna bake it in the oven for 1 hour at 475 degrees. And then we're gonna take it out, take a look at it, and then I won't bore you with it, but I would do it 2 more times after that. So to the sink. Okay, so fresh pan, packaging just off, really hot water. I've got that cranked to the right hot. I grabbed a long handled nylon brush and I'm just gonna go like so and rub around, taking the wax off. I could use a nylon scrubby like so, but I'm finding that water is a little hot. And I've got my chainmail scrubby here. This is unneeded for doing this job. So just using, a relatively abrasive nylon brush and taking off any wax. So still beading all over, but I'm not concerned about having any excess left on the pan. So that is like so. And now I'm going to give it a dry. And now we're going to apply the paste on there and get it in the oven. Okay, so we've got our pan and it is warm to touch. We've got our Buzzy Wax, that is our seasoning paste, and my rag that I use for applying. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that, and the pan is still warm, so it's melting that. I'm just rubbing it, liberally to cover everything all around. But as you can see with doing a wax over using grapeseed oil, is that it's sticking to the pan, which is great. So we're gonna make sure I get all around the rivets, get the edge, and then I'm going to get a little bit more wax and do the backside. Backside is really important to seal it, or you do get rusting and it gets a little messy and nasty. You don't have to continue seasoning. You'll find just under regular cooking, it will continue to be seasoned. So we've got a nice coating all around it. Just hit the inside a little bit more. I really don't want it too thick of a coating here. I would much rather do 2 or 3 seasoning coatings in the full cycle through the oven than try to put a big thick gobbed on. It just won't work. It is too soft. It doesn't dry out. It doesn't polymerize. So multiple thin layers is the answer. So just like so, that's coated, really nice and simple. It's a little bit shiny all over, and that's that. So now we're gonna just pop that right into the oven, inverted like so, and then that's gonna sit on the rack for an hour at 475 and bake away. Okay, so we've had 3 goes in the oven, start to finish, using the Buzzy Wax paste as our seasoning paste. And that is the golden color that you're looking for when it's done, and the consistency all around. So both sides of the pan, as we talked about, not the handle. And as you see, no damage to the handle whatsoever by being in an oven for over 3 hours a day at 475 degrees. So this pan is beautifully seasoned, oven method, ready to go for stovetop use. So hope that works. Let us know if you have any questions.